This is the video for problems 7, 8, and 9 from the Chapter 3 quiz review. The directions state to write the equation of the given exponential function in the form y equals a times b to the power of x. Okay, so when we're talking about that form there, right, we're going to have, like our starting value, we're going to end up having our multiplier, and it's going to be raised to the power of x. Okay, so we want to get it so our exponent has just the x in it. As we look here, we're going to say y equals -6 times 3 raised to the power of x plus 1. Now remember, when we have this plus 1, because we're adding exponents, that means that it came from an expression that had the same base. So we can think of this as -6 times 3 to the power of x, and then we would say times 3 to the first power. Because remember, multiplying two numbers with the same base means that we're going to add their exponents. So we're going away from that. So when we look at this one, right, if I have 3 to the first is 3 and I have that -6, I'm going to go ahead and multiply those two together. So I have a -18 times 3 raised to that power of x. And what we see here actually is that it now meets this form. We have a times b raised to the power of x. So there's our answer for number 7. Now looking at number 8, very similar kind of problem. What I suggest to some people was to take this and do 3 times our 4 raised to the power of -2x plus 1. Okay, so then we can kind of focus again on this plus 1. We'll say we have y is equal to 3, which is like our a, times 4 raised to the power of -2x. And then instead of saying plus 1, we know that we can write times 4, right? Or times 4 to the first, because we've added the exponents together. Now we can take it and we can multiply our 3 and our 4 together. So we're looking at y is equal to 12 times 4 raised to the power of -2x. Now we're getting close to the form that they're asking us for, but we can't have the -2 up there with the x. So we're going to apply one of our other exponent rules. We'll say it's 12 times our 4, and we're going to take this and we're going to break this and say this is 4 to the -2nd and then raised to the power of x. Right? Because when we multiply, we always multiply exponents when we're raising one to a higher power. So what does this look like? We've got y is equal to 12. Now 4 to the -2nd would be 1/16, right? It's not -16, it's 1/16 to the power of x. And that's where we would need to leave off, right? We've now got it to that form that we're looking for. A times b to the power of x. All right, moving on to number 9. They want us to find the equation of an exponential that goes through these 2 points. So remember, that is this equation, y is equal to a times b to the power of x. So we're going to treat this one as an x comma y, and we're going to treat this one as an x comma y. So now we can substitute in what we know for x, right? We can substitute in what we know for y, and then that's going to allow us to go ahead then and try to solve for a and b. Let's try it. So for the first one, I'm going to say -2 is equal to a times b to the first power. And then we're going to have -18, which is our y, is equal to a times b to the third power. So I know I showed you a couple different ways to do it. I'm going to go ahead and use elimination. I'm going to take the one that has the greater exponent, which is that 3, right? And I'm going to divide it by the entire equation. -2 is equal to a times b to the first. So now, as we look at it, we'll see here that -18 divided by -2 is going to be 9. A divided by a is going to cancel out. And this b to the first is going to cancel out one of these ones, leaving us with b to the second. So we have 9 is equal to b to the second. Now we'll just finish solving by taking the square root. We don't necessarily need to worry about the absolute value on these ones because we're talking about the distances. Our base in our exponential functions, right, it needs to be a positive number. So, Bambi, go away. Thank you. All right, so we've got b is equal to 3. So now we're just going to take that 3 and we're going to plug it back into our other equation. Negative 2 is equal to a times 3 to the first. All right, so that was this one over here. So 3 to the first is 3, and then since we have negative 2 is equal to 3a, we'll just divide by 3. And we get negative 2/3 is equal to a. Now we'll just take it and write out our equation. Y is equal to negative 2/3 times 3 raised to the power of x. To check it, you can plug in each of these original points just to make sure that it makes it true. All right, so that's problems 7, 8, and 9. Hopefully that helped you. I'm getting tired, but we're going to muscle through it so that you have the resources that you need to get a good grade on this quiz. All right.